It's a Frisco/Payday Friday.
A 40 water Friday.
And it's time to rep your city. Where you from? Where you at? How you listening? How you watching? 888-957-9570. We want to hear your keys to Sunday's game. Who's your X factor? How did the Niners pull out their first victory of the 2022 season? Shanahan so far 2-3 in home openers. Lost his first one at Carolina. They beat the They beat the Lions the next season. Then they beat the Steelers in 2019. And then of course, they lost to the Arizona Cardinals during the pandemic season at home, and last season against Green Bay Packers in Week 3 when Aaron Rodgers and company came to Levi Stadium and won that football game. So 888-957-9570. What's your X factor? To me, defensive line has to dominate. Point blank. They have to dominate, Shasky. They need to set the tone from snap number 1 all the way through. They can't blow 10-point leads. This is on the defensive line this week. I'm looking at Chris Kosaric, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, Drake Jackson, and the rest of that crew to dominate Geno Smith and that Seahawks offense.
Well, you're looking at a first-round pick in Charles Cross, who's going to play left tackle. He's a rookie. All right. Damian Lewis, does that ring a bell for anyone?
No.
Austin Blythe?
No.
How about Gabe Jackson? He used to play for the Raiders. Mm-hmm. All right, he's the other right guard, and then you go to the other side of that line. So on one end, it's a rookie who was taken in the first round. Yep. On the other end, at tackle, Abram Lucas, who was taken in the third round. You've got 2 rookies. Bonte, there's no excuse to not dominate the offensive line for the Seahawks when you have 2 rookies starting against you right now, and you're Nick Bosa. You better hunt.
You better hunt. Geno last week in that second half against the Denver Broncos. Remember, Seattle didn't score a point. Geno Smith 6-10 for 31 yards in that second half. Seattle didn't score anything. DK 7 catches, 36 yards. Tyler Lockett 3 catches, 28 yards. So they'll be chomping at the bit to kind of explode this week. But it's a divisional game. You've lost 4 in a row to the freaking Seahawks. Pete Carroll's 18-7 all time against you. And you know they're going to be coming in full of swagger. They feel like they could deal the Niners an early death blow this Sunday at Levi Stadium. I mean, you got to have this game.
The one thing that cannot happen in this game
is falling behind early.
You can't let Marquise Goodwin score a touchdown. I can't have back-to-back revenge touchdowns with 2 49er cast-off wide receivers. I can't have it. And I like Marquise Goodwin, but I mean, if he's scoring touchdowns, when he caught a pass in Monday Night Football, did you do the same thing I did? Marquise Goodwin's on the Seahawks?
I thought he was out the league.
Me too.
I was like, Marquise Goodwin, Jesus
Him
Christ.
and Ted Ginn Jr. will be open over the top, dropping balls until they're 80.
Yep. No doubt.
Wide open drop.
But he'll catch that one.
Exactly.
And that one may burn you. All right, texting in from Boise, Idaho, the 208 on the Comcast Business text line. We need to see a clean game.
Yeah.
No drive extending penalties or no turnovers. We haven't talked enough about that. The 12 penalties. The 4th most in the Shanahan era in a single game.
3 pre-snap.
3 pre-snap. You had the face mask on defense. You had the defensive holding on Charvarius Ward. It just can't have that.
No.
Not with the young quarterback.
No, and for me, it's the drive extending ones. Those are the crucial ones. They've just got to play a little more buttoned up and more disciplined. And look, this team got stops. The problem is when you get a stop and then you give up a personal foul, not only are you giving them a first down,
right,
you could flip field position. I mean, when you're giving up 15-yard personal foul chunks, those are huge. So they got to be very, very careful. Ooh. Geno actually does a pretty good job with his legs, surprisingly.
He does. How about this one from Oreo Cookie in a 510 Comcast Business text line? He's from Oakland, roasting on the Odyssey app. It's not a must-win. It's a you better win game.
I'm with him on that one.
It's a you better win.
I'm with him on that.
I'm a little nervous that if they do get behind early, that there's going to be some nervous energy in that crowd. And then how's the support system going to show up for Trey Lance? Because Mike March yesterday joined Willard and Salisbury. Here's, again, he reiterated what he had to say on Monday.
You have to start, with Shannon and John Lynch. Obviously, I think the world of them, I know they know what they're doing. They're beyond reproach, in my opinion. I know that they've had him for a year, and it was just so hard for me to understand how he could play like that. I know he's being coached. I know all that stuff. It was very disappointing, to say the least. And, they're such a good team. I'm excited for the 49ers. I think that they can win that, division and be real good this year. And it was really It was hard to watch him play, and I know that does happen, Sean. You know, you've seen quarterbacks in your career have a moment like that, and hopefully that's all that is. But it wasn't good. It just makes you wonder. Now, hopefully he can get past that and play well this next week, and if he doesn't, then they've got a dilemma on their hands.
Oh, he also said he expected a lot from Trey Lance last week.
Just listening to what everybody said, I was really anticipating more than what we saw, of course, in that game. So I don't know what he is, and maybe he's one of those guys that's going to take a few years. But in the meantime, they've got a really good football team. So what do you do, right? So hopefully they can win while he develops and comes along. And if he doesn't, then I think they probably would need to make a change.
Oh,
we about done with Mike Martz? I'm asking you.
I got one more for you.
All right. I'll let you play it, and then
You're seeing you react quickly without having to think about your throws. So, just flashes, the ball's out. Boom. And if you have to think about what you're seeing, then you're late with the ball. And he certainly is late with the ball to me. And not real accurate, and he's late with the ball. The other thing is there's a mental toughness and a physical toughness that goes with that you can fight through these kinds of things and come back out on top and play well. In Kurt's first start for us against Baltimore, he threw 3 picks in the first half. He came back and was brilliant in the second half. That's when I knew we had one, And hopefully Trey can do that. But I just, it's unfair for me really because I don't see him every day, to know what he is as a passer. All I know is what I saw in that game, and it was very concerning to me.
So I was with Mark Willard and Sean Salisbury yesterday right here on 95.7 The Game, and I thought Mike Martz was absolutely delusional during that interview. I listened to the whole thing live. I thought it was delusional.
I just don't care about Mike Martz anymore.
It's unbelievable.
Look, this is a guy. Look, just hear me out for a second. He's closer to 80 than he is to 50. Number one, okay. He's been removed from the game for over a decade for a reason. All right, his mind is you have to play the quarterback like a statue because that's the way he came up. He can't even compartmentalize how you're supposed to play the game now. I guarantee you he's got issues with Mahomes' mechanics and Mahomes and the way he plays the game and this, that, and the other. Right. So I just don't care what Mike Martz has to say anymore. This is a guy who didn't get the 49er job and has hated us ever since. All right? He thought JT O'Sullivan was a good quarterback. All right? I mean, everyone points to Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner had success in multiple places with multiple coaches.
Right.
Mike Martz had success with one person.
One guy.
Okay?
Kurt Warner.
He didn't have success with Jim Everett before him. He didn't have success with Jamie Martin or Mark Bulger or JT O'Sullivan or Tim Rattay or Sean Hill.
No.
All right? He was in Washington, couldn't do anything with Gus Frerotte. Oh, he was also the guy who was with Joey Harrington and Dan Orlovsky, and he couldn't do anything with those guys. Why do we think that this guy is some quarterback guru? Does he know football? Of course he does. He's out of touch. I don't care what Mike Martz has to say. And coincides with him launching a new website and a podcast that I will not be subscribing to.
Oh, man. You want another laugh here? I'm going to give you a laugh. 650 Comcast Business Text Line. Bonte needs to stop the Niner talk and get to Shanko. There you go. Just cool your jets a little bit on a Friday. It's payday Friday.
You know what's funny?
Can
we just for 1 second before you go back out there?
707, Pat and the Nap. We out here picking grapes with the Morning Roast on the Odyssey app. Thanks for getting me through a crazy harvest with all this Niners talk. Please do not give Geno the game with 3 yards. I agree, 707.
I'm with you on that.
Thanks, Pat.
And can we also do this? Can we stop giving credibility to people who stood next to someone who is generational? Right. No, I'm serious.
Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner was a generational quarterback who played great in multiple locations. And anybody who stood next to him got a little of the pixie dust. We've done this with Belichick. How many Belichick assistants have gone on to do nothing?
Nothing. Romeo Crennel, Charlie Weiss, Mike Patricia, Bill O'Brien, Joe Judge.
We do this in sports. I don't know why we do this. How many Popovich disciples have done nothing?
Yeah.
How many guys on Steve Kerr's staff? I love Steve Kerr. We all love Steve Kerr. And I love all these guys. They've all gotten chances. Yeah. None of them have really done a whole lot. No. All right? But they stand next to someone who's great, and we just attribute all the characteristics of who actually is great to these individuals. Mike Lombardi's another one. He's out here bumping his lips every single week.
Michael Lombardi
he stood next to Belichick for 5 seconds, and now we think that he was the master mastermind behind something. Mikey ain't done jack.
Well, we have the second
I
cue
should
card.
just go sit next to the Bill Walsh cemetery grave, and maybe someone will hire me, and I'll be a quarterback guru. I'm like, former guy who stood next to Bill Walsh for 6 seconds at his grave, now knows quarterback play. Here's Joe Shasky, ex-scout. Get the hell out of here. So sick of these people. And they have agendas, too. That's the other thing. Mike Martz didn't get the job when Singletary did.
He did.
He's hated the Niners ever since. He also tried to do that in Chicago.
Right.
And that's why he doesn't like Chicago either.
Yeah, no
Mike
doubt.
Martz, your time's about done, bud.
By the way, Mike Martz and Michael Lombardi, newest additions to the cue card. The cue card is 2 cards deep now. Now, if we had a cue card for the Golden State Warriors, this entire studio will be plastered with cue cards. But we're not there yet. But the cue card, we're now on cue card number 2. And no, Guru, you're still on the cue card. You're still there.
Oh.
Let's come on the game. Sponsored by Chilton Auto Body. Your phone calls 888-957-9570.
So let's make that happen this year. Okay?